What's going on, guys? Mega Gig back with another video, back with our main man Barbarian here. And I haven't actually done an updated speed build for the Whirlwind build, so I thought I would do that. And I want to preface this video by saying, kind of like the main Whirlwind build, there are a ton of different options that you guys can do with this build to make yourself move faster, or you can swap things out for more damage, this and that. So this build that I'm going to go over, I think, at least for me at my Paragon level, is the right mix of movement speed and damage together. Like I said, there's tons of different things that you can do, and we'll talk about a couple of the different things as we're going through. So again, this isn't a hard and fast, you have to do it this way. There are things you can swap out, but this is what I'm using. Like I said, you get a lot of movement speed, you stay healthy, you keep your fury topped off, and you also do a good amount of damage too. So the only thing that kind of takes a little bit of time is the Rift Guardian might take about 5 seconds or so. It's not too bad. If you get a really bad rift, it might take you a couple of minutes, but just kind of an average rift, you're probably looking at like the mid 2-minute range. It really just depends on the layout. This certainly isn't the fastest build in the game, but it is a Whirlwind speed build. Anyways, let's get into it, guys. Of course, you're going to want the full 6-piece set of the Wrath of the Wastes. And I do have augments on my gear too, even though they're not really high. I haven't been working on that too much yet anyways. But you're going to want all that, and I've got all strength gems. We don't really need a lot of defense. You do still need the cooldown reduction, so we've got a diamond in the helmet. And then we, of course, are still using the Bulkathos set weapons. These, of course, give you more fury generation now than it did previously, and also more attack speed and movement speed. So that's also a bonus. More damage and more movement speed. That's a bonus for speed runs. So you do want both of these. And of course, we've got green gems in there. For the belt, we are still running Pride of Cassius because we're still using Ignore Pain. We don't really need it as much for the toughness now. I'm using the Bravado rune for more movement speed, which we'll talk about. So we're still using the Pride of Cassius. We are still using Nemesis Bracers. That way, shrines and pylons will spawn enemy champions. Generally, you seem to spawn more shrines the more progress you're making. And a lot of times in a normal rift, you'll be making enough progress where these will come in handy, and you'll just be getting more and more champions, because more champions equals more progression orbs equals faster rift clears. For the rings, we're still using Ring of the Zodiac for the cooldown reduction. Using Artegic in there for more damage. A couple of different options you can swap this out for if you want. You can swap this out for a Pain Enhancer because more attack speed. But again, you're killing things so fast that you don't really get the benefit from the bonus attack speed from that. In higher, or in the lower regular Nephilim rifts. So we're going with a Tegic. You could probably also go for a what is Bane of the Trapped? Yeah, you could go for a Bane of the Trapped, but even then, at the same level, this is more straight up weapon damage overall, and you get a little bit of armor too with it, which is kind of nice. And because we're taking advantage of the Zodiac Ring, but not as much as in a Greater Rift, because enemies are generally dying really fast. So it does help with cooldown reduction, but we generally need more cooldown reduction to keep everything up, to keep all of our speed and everything going. So we're also going with a Gogako Swiftness. This gives us nice attack speed and dodge chance, and then it also gives cooldown reduction as well. And you can see the one I'm using there is only level 67. It doesn't really matter as long as it's level 25 here. And then I am using a Boon of the Hoarder in an Avarice band. Now this, for me, is because the Boon of the Hoarder gives you movement speed when picking up gold, and then the Avarice band expands your pickup radius to near enough the whole screen, depending on what resolution you're running and what screen you've got, I guess. But so it's more movement speed and yeah, more pickup radius if you have a huge or a pretty big pickup radius without Avarice Band already, and you don't want the extra movement speed from picking up gold. You can swap this out for more damage, something like a Convention of Elements or whatever. That's up to you. And then for the amulet, I'm still just running the Hellfire amulet because I want my Boon of the Bull Kathos passive. Again, Wrath of the Berserker does a lot more damage and more movement speed when it's up, so we want to keep that up as much as we can. That's pretty much it for the gear. The cube looks about the same. Yeah, for the cube, we're not doing anything different. We're still using the furnace because we do want to kill elites and Rift Guardians as fast as we can, so the more damage we can do, the better. Because we are losing some of our damage from our Convention of Elements, from not having that, swapping that out for Avarice Band. So I keep the furnace for more damage there. Again, Mantle of Channeling, same thing, more damage and more toughness. And then Skull Grasp, of course, excuse me, a lot more damage, so we're going with that. Skills are mostly the same. We're using Warcry, Veteran's Warning. Again, T13 can do a little bit of damage on certain things, so if we can get a little bit of toughness here and there, that's fine. We're using Warcry, Veteran's Warning. I was actually going to say, what is it? Is it Strong Arm Bracers that give the movement speed? I forget which bracers it is. But whatever the bracers are that give movement speed, whenever you cast Warcry, you can wear those too. Is it bracers or belt? I've forgotten now. But whichever one it is. But you'll be casting this a lot, and the extra movement speed, to me, doesn't equal out the extra progression you get from Nemesis bracers. So yeah, that's why we're staying on Nemesis bracers. And I led into that from this. That kind of made me think about that. So yeah, again, we're using Ignore Pain Bravado. Bravado increases our movement speed by 40% and knocks back enemies as well, which is, that's whatever. We're just using it for the movement speed mainly. We're also using Sprint Marathon, increased movement speed by 40% for 4 seconds. Again, more movement speed equals getting through the rift faster. We can go, there are things, like I said, there are things you can do that you can add that you can go a lot faster. If you want to just check out for fun, I've done a couple months ago, I did 2 different videos testing Barbarian movement speed, and I got him going, really fast. There's one build that's called the Flash build or something that is just as fast as you can be, but the damage is pretty lacking there. It's not really practical for actual speed running and killing things, but you do move very fast. So like I said in the beginning, this is a nice balance between movement speed and damage, but we are still working sprint in here, and we're still using the Marathon rune. Sprint does cost 20 Fury, and to keep our Fury maxed out, we've got the Bull Kathos generation going on, but it's not near enough to keep us maxed out after a while. So we are using the Wind Shear rune on Whirlwind. That will generate 1 Fury per enemy struck. So this will pretty much keep us maxed out on Fury. Battle Rage Bloodshed, again, just your overall big time damage buff, and then the Bloodshed rune is even more AoE damage. And then of course Wrath of the Berserker, Insanity. For our passives, we're going pretty much out all damage. We've got Brawler, and we've got Rampage and Berserker Rage and Ruthless. So those are the passives as well. Paragon points, once you get to where you can speed farm T13 is really easy. For Paragon points, I've dumped everything into strength for more damage. We don't really need the movement speed here. We're going to have plenty of movement speed from the bonus movement speed we get here to movement speed here, here, and here. We're going to be plenty fast, and you'll see that if you want to go even faster, you can put some movement speed here. But again, in times it can kind of get to where you're getting the diminishing returns, kind of like the video I was talking about previously, where you're moving so fast and you can just get through floors on the rift like crazy, but every time you run into an elite pack, it takes you a little while to kill them. So again, I've gone for balance between damage and speed. With the rest of the Paragon points, yeah, I guess you could probably speed farm T13s without being maximum 800. So go for critical hit chance, damage, attack speed, and then cooldown reduction. Here, resist all, armor, life regen, and since if you can do T13s easily enough, go for area damage first, and then life per hit. Otherwise, if you need a little bit of survivability, go life per hit, then area damage, then resource cost reduction, and gold fine. So I'll just run a quick rift, show you how this works. Now you can see without the Paragon movement speed, just running here, I'm actually pretty slow. Not very fast. And even when I get into Whirlwind, I'm faster, but I'm still not very fast. But once we get all of our buffs up, and remember, we're also going to be picking up gold from this and getting our pickup radius up as well. That's going to let us farm even faster. So let's go to a Nephilim Rift, and we are on T13. Hopefully we get a good rift. Go ahead and get our other buffs up here. And then hit everything, and there we're moving pretty fast. Things tend to die really fast, especially if you get good density. You can't really do the numlock trick super well on this because it doesn't seem to work when you're constantly holding Whirlwind. It'll go down after a while. So you'll just kind of have to watch. You'll just kind of have to watch your skills and cast them whenever. But we're not really having to pay attention to dying and whatnot, like I said, again, because we're in just a easy T13, so it's not too bad to just kind of look down there and cast every now and then. When you get a speed shrine, you move really fast. It does get a little hard to keep control, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. And just keep all your buffs up as much as you can. Whirlwind build has a ton of AoE clear because we also have those tornadoes that are going out. So if you get a big density, you can see also about the shrines spawning because we're advancing so fast. But if you get a big, what am I trying to say? A big room full of enemies, do one big quick circle, and you'll also send out all of your tornadoes, and that will kill a lot of remaining stragglers. You can kind of judge the time it takes you to run by how long your buff stays up. They only stay up for 2 minutes, so if you have to recast them, you know you're already past 2 minutes. But I think this build is a lot of fun. It's one of the easiest speed builds. I think to play, and it's probably not as good as like the Demon Hunter, was it multi-shot maybe, and Monk Wave of Light, but you know, it's still a lot of fun. It's still very fast. If you like the Barbarian and you like you know, playing and you just want to kind of switch back and forth and farm keys really fast, you can just simply have two setups in your armory. You've got your Whirlwind, and then I just call it farming here, but it's, you know, it switches the items equipped. Yeah, switches. Apparently I didn't have that in there or something, but I'll redo that. But yeah, so that is the Speed Whirlwind Barbarian, guys. Let me know if you're gonna, you know, use this, or if you use a variation of this, if you guys like speed farming. It does come in handy when you want to speed farm keys, or if you want to speed farm you know, just gold or whatever. It's very easy build to play, and it's still very, very fast. So hope you guys liked the video. If you did, leave a like and a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you guys for watching. More good stuff to come. Take care.